Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Gracklecast. And it's your favourite episode type of the Gracklecast. It's versus mode. These are my favourite types to record, and after taking so long to get the last one out, which I do apologise for, I felt that you guys deserved another one in very quick succession. So, that begs the question, who is my lovely victim this time round? Well, you may know him as the Dreamcast lover, the Shenmue lover, the Konami hater. You may know him as one half of Pod of War. You might have seen his YouTube videos. You might have seen his release list schedules. You will have seen him as Pengers. You know him as Masofdas.
Hello.
All right, Mas.
And yeah, I was gonna say make a really bad joke about like this on the release schedule, like put it on for like in 8 months' time.
Okay, right. Let's talk about that. It's not going to happen with this one. I'm going to try and not to date it, just in case it does happen. But this time, I am planning to get this out, and hopefully, not long after it's been recorded.
March time or something like that. In 8 months.
Yeah. I think maybe 8-9 months. That's a good sort of time scale. You know, we really want to build hype for each episode of Versus Mode. Really get you chomping at the bit for another one. So no, I'm hoping to get this out like kind of in August. That's the goal. I'm not gonna say when in August because I am notoriously bad at setting deadlines. But August is what I'm looking to get this up for. So that's the goal. That is the goal. But yeah, so how are we doing then? Anyway, this
yeah, not too bad at all. I've caught up with what happened with New Japan this morning. That would give you a hint when this is recorded because the G1 climax is currently on at the moment. So
yeah, that does last about a month, which is actually really good rather than dating it for a specific date. So we're talking about a nondescript night of the G1. It could be any time. You don't know. I've still to catch up on myself there after last night's episode, so looking forward to that. But we're already probably boring at least 80% of the listenership with chatting about the Japanese wrestling, so probably should avoid that. Should we just launch into it? I'm happy to go for it. Let's rock and roll. So, like always, we want to get a bit of an understanding of what brought you to the table as a video game player, a video game lover. Now, I like to try and hazard a little bit of a guess as to where you first started off. And I want to say you might have started off with like maybe the Master System or maybe the Mega Drive. I'm not too sure exactly which.
It was the Mega Drive.
Probably.
Yeah.
Was the Mega Drive there? Fair play. Good stuff. So that was your first console?
It's a strange one because I always remember owning a Mega Drive 2. That's what I currently got is a Mega Drive 2. But there's a picture of me. I found it years ago, looking through old pictures, and it's me with a Mega Drive Mark 1, and I can never remember owning a Mark 1. So it's like really strange, and it's like me and a little like 20-inch CRTV playing, I think it was Wrestle War, and like a few other kids around like the estate, because I was the only person that had a Mega Drive. So when I went to my dad's at the weekend, like everyone came over because I was the only one that had a console.
Yeah, that's a very familiar story with mine, but replaced the Mega Drive with PlayStation 1 was the one I had, with the big old chunky CRTs.
It was a weird time when gaming wasn't really like as big as now. It was like, that's when it was more, thought of as like the weird geeky thing, where now it's like the biggest entertainment medium on the planet, so...
Yeah, it's like really interesting.
I think comic books is kind of similar as well. You would thought like 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Now with like all the like films and stuff, especially the MCU, is hugely popular. Yeah.
It's cool to be a geek, as they say now. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I routinely will be having chats about like what games I've been playing with folk at work, whereas before you might have been, shy to talk about it, I suppose would be a good way to class it as. Like, you wouldn't really openly chat about it, but Like I was having a chat with my manager who's been rocking through
Nice.
Octopath Traveler, so we've been sharing stories about it, which is great. Um, so yeah, totally. But back then, you're absolutely right. Like you'd have everyone crowding around, but you wouldn't really talk about
Yeah.
much beyond that. So, what are your kind of your favorites on the
Like
Mega Drive then?
obviously, well, like I said, I think I remember I got the pictures of Mark One, but my feeling is my uncle must have gave me his Mark Two or something, and I might have sold my Mark One. So that's like my weird indication. But obviously back then he had Sonic games. Sonic Two I think was my first game I ever played. So it kind of dates my Mega Drive in 1993 is when I started gaming, and then obviously Streets of Rage 2, Golden Axe 2, um,
Yes.
Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is a weird one because my dad's like dabbled with games now and again, but like now he finds them way too complicated. Like he struggles with the two sticks. Like he's tried to play Halo and COD, but if I give him a Mega Drive controller and Mortal Kombat 2, after a while he would remember like back forward A is like the Superman move of Raiden and stuff. It's just like really weird how like
Mhm.
we've not played games like properly for like 20 years and still like remember those like buttons. I don't know if it's because it's so simple because it's only three buttons in the D-pad, but yeah, it's a strange one. So I remember playing lots of him, and then like I said, no one else had a like on the estate. Someone had a PC that played games, and it's like this is the weird point where like PC gaming was like frowned on, not like the other way around, like it is now. Like PC was like really weird and then the girl around the corner had like a Super Nintendo, but like nowhere ever went like around there. Sort of, I think I played it once, and it's like Super Mario World or something. So all my gaming back then was the Mega Drive.
Yeah, like you're talking about the Super Nintendo didn't really garner a lot of
Yeah,
attention in your neighborhood, and I think like the UK
Nintendo's
as a whole,
yeah
like it's
not the
always really
bigger.
been like it's not really been huge until maybe like I don't know,
Yeah,
like the Wii era, like the
yeah,
DS Wii era. That's when it
and the
really
handhelds,
started to take
and it's
off
like
here.
and it's always like
The
sort of
handhelds,
thing.
yeah.
You know, you talk about like console wars and that, but because like I said, I only went to my dad weekends, and then like when at school, like no one really talked about games, so like the whole like Sega, Nintendo, and that was like never really a thing for me, which is like really weird when you read of like now, like read it back now, and then it's like the console wars like book, which is gonna be turned into film or something like that. It's
Yeah.
like really weird when you look at it about now. It's like I don't even know anyone that had a Mega Drive and a Super Nintendo, and like no one talked about it or like games. It's like I knew people knew who Sonic was because he was on the TV of the cartoon, and so was like Mario. People know who those characters were, but it wasn't really a big thing.
Like the first time I remember being aware of like the console
Yeah,
wars like concept was like the PS3
yeah,
Wii 360 era. Like I don't really
mm.
remember a whole lot of it before then, but maybe it
Mm.
was more of a US thing, like the
Yeah,
Nintendo versus Sony sort of
yeah, because you had the
divide. I mean, you had the
adverts like
adverts on
Sega
TV
does
and
what
things like that.
Nintendo don't and stuff like that.
hmm But like talking about the games you were into on the Mega Drive, like you listed some
Yeah,
absolute classics to be starting off with. Like I'm pull my hands up, not the biggest Sonic fan in the world, but I can appreciate that Sonic 2 is a great game. Streets of Rage 2, one of my all-time favorites, brilliant game. I'm
hmm.
not too hot on Golden Axe, but you know
Yeah, I don't think it was ever as
it's
good
still
as
decent for
Streets
what it
of
is.
Rage or something. Yeah, just about like I don't know if it was like the music when he goes like that. I can't. I was gonna do the theme tune, but I don't think I can do it. Especially when you do the cop car.
I mean, you've teased us now with this match. You're gonna have
Oh,
to at least
nah,
give us
I'm
an
not even gonna
attempt.
try it.
Disappointing. I think that like the reason people gravitated more towards Streets of Rage than Golden Axe was just
Mm,
the setting. Like people were more likely to play something where you're like beating up dudes on the street with like guys with
yeah.
knives, like people like that, rather than like your
Mm.
fantasy sort of setting. It's quote
Yeah,
unquote
especially
cooler,
in the
I suppose you could
nineties,
say.
it was like much. I would say it was much cooler. They were like cool dudes, and obviously that was applicable to Sonic as well.
Yes, his
Yeah.
infamous attitude. Good stuff. So the Mega Drive there, some all-time classics there to kind of
Mm.
start your gaming journey. So perfect beginning for that. So that you said. you were talking about the difference between like you had like a Mark One and a Mark Two. Now, I never owned a Mega Drive myself, and I've never really heard of this concept up until now. So like, what's the difference
I
between like
think
the two
Mark
different types of Mega
Two was
Drives?
for like they sort of like relaunched the system, and it's the square one with the two red power and reset button, and I think it was made like cheaper, a bit like a Slim. That's what it'd be like a PS4 Slim now, or like an
Right.
Xbox 360E and stuff. That's what basically the concept would be. And like if you look for Mega CDs or anything now, they're always like Mark II Mega CDs. That seemed to be the popular one. Where the Mark One, even though it came like first, and Mark Two is actually, if I'm far as I'm aware, is actually the better system. And it's got like it's got a headphone jack, so you can plug that in. So like the audio comes there, and you can like change the
Right.
volume up, a few other things like that. It's basically small. It was smaller and cheaper, and they even did a Mark III in the States, which is even smaller. But apparently, it's like really bad. Yeah, it's not very good. But I think it was like $100 or something when it came out. So that's
Oh
kind
wow.
of yeah. So consoles, come even like Nintendo. They did like the Famicom Junior, like the one with the dog bone thing. So they've all like done smaller, cheaper consoles.
Cool. I
Yeah,
wasn't
there
really
is
sure what
no
the difference
real
was, but it definitely sounds
difference.
like a
And if you're gonna pick up a
fair
Mega
play.
CD or
Fair play.
something, you're more likely to find a Mega CD for that Mark. They work on either. Like you can use a Mark One on a Mark Two and vice versa, but they look like they're made for the, it's got the red buttons and stuff like the Mark Two, so it looks neater.
Nice. So Mega Drive, that was your kind of
Yeah.
first proper console, I suppose you could say. But I think you said that you were given that
What?
by your uncle. What was the kind of first one that you got
I first
yourself
one
then?
I see. Would you count? See, the first console I bought myself was GBA, but we're going like way past. Yeah.
That's coming a little bit later. Gotcha. So what's in between
So
then and
obviously,
the Mega Drive then?
Mark One, I don't know where that came from, but I'm pretty sure Mark Two I was given by my uncle. And the reason I think he gave me that is because he mostly got a PS1 himself. And then talking about the PS1, that was my next system. So I was aware because I did get a Game Boy Pocket. It was the clear one, which I got either a Christmas or a
Oh, yep, yep.
birthday. I definitely remember unwrapping it, and it had, I think it had Wave Race or Tetris, like a bundle. People would have seen this box of the bundle. You can but don't know when that came. I can't remember when that came out, so don't know if that I got before the PS1 or after the PS1. But that was my first Nintendo system. It's just like, you've got handheld, you got Nintendo. It's like really weird as a Sega kid. Like, why didn't I get a Game Gear? I just got a Game Boy for some reason. Um,
It's like we were saying earlier on, like the
mm.
Nintendo handhelds have always been
Yeah, I think my
the
nan and
thing to
granddad
get
got it for
if
me
you
for
owned a
my
handheld.
birthday, Christmas, so they might have gone, into the shops, and Game Gear might have even be dead by now. Then, like I said, it's the Mega Drive I got in '93. I can't remember when the Game Gear came out, when the Pocket came out. So Game Gear might not even have been a thing. So
Well, I think your
yeah,
grandparents made the right choice there.
but on to like home consoles. Yeah, I always remember this quite vividly. I was at my dad's, and I don't think it was just a weekend. It must have been like a school holiday or something. And just there was like a random knock at the door. I'm upstairs playing the Mega Drive, and then like my uncle comes up, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I got you this," and it's just a PS1 and broken proper grey box PlayStation, and that was it. So that was all there was,
Yes.
just a PlayStation. And I can't remember, it was quite late at night as well. So then me and my dad and uncle walked to the video shop. This makes me sound old when you say video shop. Walked to the video shop and like had enough money to buy. I bought a memory card, and it wasn't an official one. It came in like a white plastic with like a red like around it, so it's like a cheap third party memory card. And I rented Tomb Raider, and this is like, I must have been like, Tomb Raider just sort of come out, and that came out in November '96. So like I say, the dates are like hazy because I definitely know this is one the Christmas or birthday present, and I know Tomb Raider is fairly new, but obviously in a small town in the UK, it could have been like February '97, and it would have seemed like a new game. But I remember renting, so I was like
Yeah.
7, like no one cared about age ratings back then. So I remember renting Tomb Raider. So that was my first PS1 game I played. And like I said, it just had the memory card for it. That's all I own apart from the system. So that was pretty cool.
Give it a
Yeah.
good place to start again there. Like going back to, I don't know if you've replayed the old Tomb Raider games, but now
Mm.
they're very dated. But
Yeah.
at the time, like the exploration,
Yeah,
like
the
the
thing is, I
mystery of it
remember finding it
all,
like really hard to play it because I like jumped from
it's
like
tough.
I might
Yeah.
have been playing that night. I might have been playing like Sonic 2, and then I jumped to like this 3D game like, in like Tomb Raider, and like it's like
Yeah.
completely different world.
Yeah, totally. I mean, well, it'd be your
Yeah.
first 3D console for that sake there, and just like the complexity of it all, and like the in Tomb Raider 1, don't get me wrong, going back and replaying that
Mm.
now, that game is tough, like a
Oh, it's
really,
one of the
really
games
tough
that make
game.
hard
But
to make them last longer,
yeah,
in
well, I
my
mean,
opinion.
yeah, that's
Mm.
like more a sign of the times than anything else. But even still, like Tomb Raider 1,
Yeah.
brutally tough game. But what was your kind of your next games after Tomb Raider then on
I
the
can just
PS1?
like remember like I said, the video shop and like renting random stuff. But like I remember renting like Final Fantasy VII when it first came out. That was like so I rented that, and I can remember just only getting to the Scorpion at the start because like I never played like a JRPG before, and I was like, this is so weird. Like why am I not attacking? Why am I taking turns? It just like it was like felt completely odd and weird. But then, like, really thinking about it, I would have played Pokemon, so I don't know how I found it so much, like, stranger. Maybe because it was on a console and I was used to playing, like, Tomb Raider where it's action-y or something. Um,
Pokemon's a weird one though because like whilst it is
yeah.
obviously like a Pocket Monster RPG, like a JRPG in that sense, like
Mm,
it doesn't feel like it just because it
yeah.
is its own thing.
Yeah.
Like Pokemon's Pokemon, whereas like a JRPG
Yeah.
like Final
Actually,
Fantasy
no,
VII
when did
feels like
Pokemon
an
Red and Blue
RPG.
come out over here?
90, was it not 97? I think
I
it was
don't know,
97.
but Final Fantasy 7 was definitely 97. I don't know. Yeah.
It would have been around the
So
same
basically,
time.
I just rented stuff. But my uncle got really into the PS1. This was mostly the time that he was like really big into gaming, and he like imported stuff from America. So I played Resident Evil 2. I played as an American import. He like chipped his PS1, so he had like copied games and stuff like that. And like had a huge collection, so I borrowed games like
Hmm.
that. He used to like burn games for me and stuff. And so I used to have so I had a quite a big PS1 collection, apart from the ones I bought myself, like Crash Bandicoots and things like that, because my uncle told me years later than that I must have had a bunch of Mega Drive games for Christmas or birthday, and basically my granddad was really annoyed because he got me all these Mega Drive games, and basically I got my PS1 and I just traded in like all the Mega Drive stuff for PS1. And like granddad like totally didn't like understand what I was doing, sort of thing. Like I think he might have just like bought me Sonic and Knuckles and like all my uncle's Mega Drive stuff, and then it was like a couple months later I'm giving a PS1. I'm like, that's all going. Like that's how I got like Crash Bandicoots and Tekkens and stuff like that. Yeah.
But that's it. Like as a kid, like you're going to be focused
Mm.
on the shiny new console as opposed to the older one, for sure. Just on a little note
Yeah.
there, Pokemon UK,
Yeah, see, that's most
1999
probably
it came out.
why, Final Fantasy felt weird, and then Pokemon was a few years late. And then
Hmm.
by 1999, I would have played like games like Resident Evil 2, much more complicated. I would have played Metal Gear Solid, for instance. I would have played Tekken 3, played all the Crash, all the Spyros, and all that sort of games. I would have given like Final Fantasy 8 a try, and all those sort of like weird, other games and stuff.
So Pokemon would be old
Mm.
hat by that point, I'm sure. Nothing too
Yeah.
tricky for a young
Yeah,
mass to get his
yeah,
head
if
round.
you can beat Metal Gear Solid and stuff like that, you can take on Pokemon.
I would have loved to play Metal Gear
Yeah.
Solid like as it came out. Like I obviously went to well, not long before uh
Mm. Mm.
Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, so
Yeah,
it felt
and the
very
weird
dated,
thing
but at
is
the
because
time that
obviously
would
it
have
was
been
a rental, it
revolutionary.
came in like the white box of the video shop. They had like I can't remember. I think they had like a photocopy of like the back of the thing due to the codec. Because obviously, if you didn't have that, you couldn't and obviously this was before the internet, so you couldn't just Google it. And I can remember they had like a slip,
Yep.
and I was like really confused, like why is this in here? Like no other game I ever rented ever had like a photocopy of something. And it was like this is so odd.
It's
Yeah,
cool that they recognised that though. Like they must have actually been either be had a
yeah,
complaint about it or either played it themselves at the store because like a lot of video shops
yeah.
would have
It was
just
like an
chucked it in the
independent
box
like
and not
video
thought
shop,
anything
and the
of it.
bloke, he was like an older bloke, but he like seemed to get on to like the PS1 like really quickly. Because I remember renting like Mega Drive games from there, and they had Super Nintendo, but it was like never much. But like the PS1, he like sort of jumped on really like quickly. So I don't know.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Well, PlayStation was
yeah,
massive in the UK, absolutely massive indeed. But
yeah,
yeah, so PS1, plenty of
mm,
classics you listed there. Like Tekken
mm,
3, one of my favorites. Metal Gear Solid 1, I enjoyed the story of that.
yeah,
The gameplay was a little bit
yeah.
past its time when I played it. But where did your
Um,
gaming journey take you
Actually, not
next?
that far because in 1997 I got an N64 for Christmas. Yeah,
Ah,
so
there we
this was
go.
my first Nintendo console, not given to, well, apart from the Game Boy, and not just randomly given to me by my uncle. This I actually got for Christmas, and my nan won it in an Andrex competition. Yeah,
And
yeah,
Andrex has in
an
the toilet
Andrex
tissue.
competition. So it was like a really good because I had like all the toys I wanted. Like I think I had like a Streets chart like chomp thing. So I got all the toys I wanted plus the N64. And like my uncle got me like a VTech computer. That was like my big present from my uncle. But he also got me Star Wars: Shadows of the Empire. So that was my first.
On the
Yeah,
PS,
that
on
was my first
N64,
N64
N64, yeah.
game. Sort of. Again, that it seemed odd, especially the controller. I know Andy, if he listens to this, still hates the controller. They're like at 7 and using a PlayStation and Mega Drive controller, it did seem really strange. The three prongs.
I don't like the
Mm,
N64 controller myself either there.
mm,
It just feels it's too awkward to hold.
mm.
Like I think I'm too used to the classic kind of
Yeah,
two-prong design you get now. Like
yeah.
every controller does it. Just makes
Yeah,
sense.
the N64 was also like a weird one. Like I had Shadow of the Empires. Again, I remember renting like Boxing Day, going to the not the video shop, the bike shop of all places. They had N64 games to rent. They had like other like videos and things, but the only place that had N64 games. Like I remember renting Super Mario like 64, because obviously the 64 only just like launched in Europe in '97, so there wasn't like that many titles. So I remember renting Mario 64 and not liking it back then. I see now I love it,
Ooh,
and it's like in my
sacrilege to
like,
some.
top 10 games of all time. But again, at 7, I found it like overly complicated. Like these big open like worlds and controlling Mario. Again, like playing compare it to like Crash Bandicoot, even though he's in 3D, just the whole Naughty Dog was like, oh, we want to make a Sonic game, but the camera follows his ass basically. So it's still really a
Yeah,
2D platformer, but the
yeah.
yeah.
The levels are
So you
really
go
linear
from
in
like
that
that
sense
to like
compared to something
Mario.
like
It's
Mario.
just like was totally overwhelming, and I can't remember what happened to my N64. Like I must have sold it, traded it in or something. I never really used it that much. But now it's like the 64 is like one of my favorite consoles ever due to Super Mario 64, Ocarina of Time, GoldenEye, Perfect Dark, Paper
Mm.
Mario, Mario Kart 64, etc. So it's just like really weird, time and the place sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean it's probably just something you
Yeah,
were more used to the PlayStation and the Mega Drive at that time, like you were saying. So moving on to
yeah,
the big Nintendo home console would have been a bit jarring, I suppose. So did you play a lot of those games like
yeah.
much later on,
Much
or were
later
those something? Yeah,
along because I had the opportunity to pick them all up quite easily. So yeah,
fair play. So
no, no,
N64 didn't really cotton
no.
on to young mass back then. Um, but you said you did pick up the GBA not too long after
No,
that,
because
right?
what would it be? No, because no GBA wouldn't be next. 'Cause that's 2001.
All
Right,
right, what
so
was between them?
going back to the PS1, I had a Mega Drive, then PS1, and I remember wanting a Saturn. And my uncle was like, "Oh no, the Saturn's already dead. You want a PS1?" So having a PS1, the next logical step was the PS2. Obviously, which
Yes.
was before the GBA. So like, obviously that made sense. No one said any different this time. Like my uncle was like, "No, you want so and so or whatever. Or you want a PC or anything like that." It's just okay. Want a PS2? And this is the point. Like, I would have been like 10 when the PS2 came out. Yeah, 2000. So I was 10 on it. So this is like slightly different. It's like if you want a PS2, you got to like save for itself, get it yourself, or you might go Haas or something at Christmas for it because like it's really really expensive. Seemed like a huge jump in price compared to like what the PS1 and stuff was. So I start saving up my money for a PS2, and I go to one of the local game shops, and they've got like demo units, but not like the proper ones. They've just got a bunch of CRTVs plugged in, and they got like a PS1 plugged in, whatever the latest PS1 game is. I'm trying to think what came out in 2000 on PS1. Let's say Tekken 3. So they got that plugged in, and then they had this thing called the Sega Dreamcast plugged in, and they had a PS2 plugged in. I think they had like Gran Turismo or something running on it, and it looked amazing. And they had this thing called the Dreamcast plugged in there, and they had Sonic Adventure playing, right? And you had to like pay to sort of play. So I paid for like my £2 or whatever for half an hour, and that first level, the one with the killer well, my mind was blown. I was like, this is amazing. This is like, right, this is it. Like, I played the PS2 as well. I played Gran Turismo, so they completely different sort of games. It's like I don't know how I even can like compare them. It's like I kind of want one of these Dreamcast things.
I suppose it must have captured like
Yeah,
from where you started, like with the Mega
yeah, because
Drive, and like
obviously I
that kind of
knew Sonic,
captured
and I
that
hadn't
feeling
played
of
Sonic
Sonic
games
and everything.
for years because obviously there wasn't really any on Saturn, and I had played the PS1, and like I said, nothing like
Yeah.
on the N64 either. And I was like, I kind of want one of these Dreamcast games. So I come home or whatever, and go to my nan and granddad's, and for some reason he had a copy of like the free ads or AdMart or whatever it is, or Yellow Pages you might know it is. I was looking through there, and someone had Dreamcast for sale in there, and they had like a
Oh.
bunch of games. So I think they had like Jet Set Radio, Sonic Adventure, Choo Choo Rocket, Soul Calibur, MSR. So they had like, I think it was those 5 games, and it was like almost what I have saved for my PS2.
With
Yeah,
those
so
games
it was
included
like,
as well,
well,
yeah, yeah.
I got like half of what it would cost me to get a PS2, or I can use all this money now and get this Dreamcast if it's still for sale. So bring up, Dreamcast is still for sale. My granddad takes me in that night, and the guy's got it all set up, and he's showing me how the internet works on it. And he's like, "Oh, this is the email we set," because this is like when no one had computers, really. And I can't remember, it's like it might have been some like Hotmail, random Hotmail account, like Sonic Adventure at hotmail.com or something random like that. It's like showing me how the internet works and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is so good. So I bought that. So I bought a Dreamcast instead of a PS2.
Fair play. I mean, like at the end of the day, like it
Yeah,
definitely has shaped your kind of gaming taste. To this day, you're still
yeah.
buying Dreamcast
I
games.
only got
You
I've only
absolute
got
madman.
14 games to go for a complete house set.
Just absolutely madness, absolute madness. But it's obviously like I think it must have felt really important as well, the
Yeah,
fact that you'd saved up pretty much all of that money yourself, and then it was the way you'd
yeah,
seen it in the store, and the fact that it built upon your kind of early gaming days
mm,
as a Mega Drive fan. So I definitely understand like
yeah.
how important it is to you. So that's really cool. And the games you got with
Yeah,
it
I
there,
think
like
that's
those are,
roughly, like I said, it's
Soul
hard to
Calibur
like
1,
try to
Sonic
remember
Adventure.
that, but that's roughly like the 5 games I got on them. So they're like, you had a great, like, Soul Calibur is maybe one of the best, apart from like Super Mario 64 and Halo, is like one of the best launch titles that is like been. It's like it's really, it's fantastic.
Well, there's a certain one on Switch that comes to
Yeah,
mind for me.
that's a port, so that can't. Um, if you're doing best last games, then maybe. Um, yeah, so yeah, I got Dreamcast. Everyone knows what I am talking about the Dreamcast. I did eventually get a PS2, but I didn't get it like in 2000s or anything. I got it for Christmas 2001, so it was like much cheaper.
Hmm.
And there's obviously loads of games out for it, and I think so. That's the thing. I remember getting loads of games for it, and like the memory card and stuff like that, and got it like for the DVD player and stuff like that because I wanted a DVD player, and they're like, why don't we just get him a PS2? That seemed like the most sensible thing to do. So I had like Crash Bandicoot. Was it Wrath of Cortex? I think it was the first one on PS2. Like I'd Ready to
Yeah,
Rumble
yeah.
Boxing, which I had on Dreamcast anyway. So I think like my nan just bought that because she knew I liked it, even though it's like the same like game. I had like a Street Fighter game on it, a Donald Duck, Quack Attack, um, a few, yeah, nothing like really special. And this like 2001 was like the really good year of the PS1, PS2, I should say. When you look back, like it's when Devil May Cry I think came out, and like Final Fantasy and a few things like that. But it's not like the games I got. Like I got all these like weird sort of games for it. Um, and I remember like going to choices the next day over Tiverton. I can't remember why, but I think I remember buying my first DVD, which was Charlie's Angels.
Going for all
Yeah,
the hits
but the
here,
thing
man.
is, it was like 20 quid as well. Hmm.
DVDs, man. Pricey.
Yeah, I know.
Pricey back then.
It was like, it's insane. Yeah, so I got my PS2. I, played the Dreamcast, and obviously this is when the Dreamcast was like 2001 was like dead in like, like the eyes of most people now, even though I think it's got over 50 games listed coming to it or something, the Dreamcast, which is like ridiculous. With like some sort of official games coming to it as well, like this year and next. Yeah, but the PS2, it was like a really weird console to me. Everyone knows I'm not a huge fan of it. I think back
Hmm.
then I would have mostly been like, oh no, the PS2 killed the Dreamcast, sort of a thing, where it didn't. Sega killed the Dreamcast. But I thought
Yeah,
I
but
had,
I can see where you're
like
coming
as a
from.
10, 11 year old, I had, because I love my Dreamcast, like you said, it might be because I saved up for myself, the games, or whatever, sort of thing. Yeah, so I don't really have that many great memories of the PS2. There's great games I've played on it, like Shadow of the Colossus, Ico, Metal Gear Solid 2, and stuff like that. So there's good titles I've played on it.
And
Hmm.
I think from there, like if I remember rightly, like probably because a lot of the Dreamcast
Hmm.
franchises kind of jump ship to Xbox. That was like your next big one
No,
after
because
that,
I
wasn't
got
it?
a GameCube next, which was seemed
Yes,
really
this is
out of like the
probably
blue. Like I didn't like the I didn't really use my N64. Didn't have a Super Nintendo. I did obviously had the Game Boy. Actually, no. Next would have been Game Boy Advance because that came out in 2001. Which was my first midnight launch as well. Yeah, so I remember saving
there
up
we
for
go.
that myself and getting a midnight. I don't know why. Again, it's like suddenly I wanted the GBA. I must have because I was reading like the likes of Games Master because obviously I had the PS1, PS2, Dreamcast, and like must have had a Game Boy Pocket or Game Boy Color as well. So like trying to get all the coverage from like one magazine. Um, but I remember
Yeah,
getting a GBA at launch, midnight launch, some choices video, and I got Super Mario Advance, Super Mario Bros. 2. Is that the full title? Yeah, I
I
mean
think
that's
so.
that's the game I got with it. Yeah, I really like that, and sort of like the GBA. I've never really been a big handheld gamer. Like I'd never played like Ruby and Sapphire for instance on it. I don't, so it's like a strange one. But then after that would have been the GameCube.
And is this maybe when I'm getting this right here, this is probably where your real love for
Yeah,
Nintendo
yeah. This
started to
is
grow,
like the
right?
big one again. I think I would have read lots of Games Master and stuff like that. And then you, being a Sega person and loving like the Dreamcast, like it's like now it's like oh, this new like Sega IP is going to be at launch because Super Monkey Ball that looks really good. Sonic Adventure 2 battle, like this enhanced port is going to come to it, and like even like Luigi Mansion and like that looked pretty good. And like obviously this is screenshots, so it's hard to tell by that how good it's actually going to be.
Yeah, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
but
As well, from Sega coming along at
I
a
don't
later
think that
stage.
would have been announced yet at launch and stuff. So it's like, okay, this looks like and Bloody Raw was on it, and I quite like playing that on like PS1. And I thought, this looks actually quite decent, and it wasn't very dear either. So I saved up for this myself because it came out in March over here. So I think it's March 2000. Yeah, March 2002. So me and my nan go into Exeter because that was the closest like city, and I wanted a black one. And all they had in games the Indigo one, so he ended up with that instead of black. Yeah, well, that's all they. I didn't pre-order it. It's like I can never pre-order like games or anything. That wasn't like a thing I did. I just like bought games when I randomly went into the game shop and whatever I had money and whatever looked good, sort of thing. Yeah, so I didn't pre-order it. Yep. So all they had on the shelf was the Indigo one, and so got that put back. I didn't have the cash on me, so my nan paid, and I sort of like the money out. Sort of afterward, but I remember getting that, an unofficial like game own controller, a proper memory card, a GBA link cable because I saw that Sonic Adventure 2 had this GBA like mode thing with one of the Sonic games on that. Yeah,
the Chow Garden.
Something like that. So I got Sonic Adventure 2 at launch, Bloody Raw, Star Wars, and Luigi's Mansion. That was like the launch liner. So I got this.
Yes.
And I think it was like £265 for like those 4 games, the console, 2 like controllers and like memory card and GPAs. Like if you think about that, that's like really cheap. That's like same price as a Switch, but with 4 like quality games. So it's like it was so good, and that's really like you said, my love of Nintendo started because that then became my main console. Like I wasn't playing the PS2, I was playing the games I had on like the 4 launch titles, and then not long after you got Wave Race, and then not long after that you had Super Smash Bros. Melee, and then you had Mario Sunshine, and like Nintendo like keep the hits, and it did get like some of the third party titles and stuff. So you had your FIFA. So you had I remember buying Spider-Man 2 on it. Like
what a game!
Buying that on GameCube. It's the first time I played a Zelda game was on the GameCube. I played Wind Waker, so it's the first time I played Ocarina of Time because of the bonus disc.
Yes, yep.
Yeah.
What a bargain that was.
Because everyone made a fuss because Zelda was shell shaded, so it's like I'll just put Ocarina of Time in it. Yeah, but like for me, I didn't play Ocarina, and this is the first time. This is like going back when I said like the N64 is like one of my favorite consoles because of the games such as Ocarina of Time. Even though I played it on GameCube, so it's like playing all the and there's like where I tried other things like I played Final Fantasy, Crystal Chronicles, for instance, on it. Played Tales of Symphonia and stuff like JRPGs weren't really a thing I played, and it's just fantastic. Fantastic system. Like I re-updated or reposted like on the forum like favorite consoles. Originally I said Dreamcast, but now I would actually say GameCube.
Yeah. I've got a lot of time for the GameCube. Yeah, it's a really really good system. And I think. Perhaps not from us on GNamer because we're all big massive Nintendo fans, but I think if you spoke to like the gaming community at large, I think the GameCube would be underrated to an extent compared to a lot of other stuff out there. Because it's a cracking machine, really really good console.
On my GameCube, and I can easily think of 100 more that I would like pick up for it quite easily. It has got a really big decent library for it as well.
So from there, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but from there on, like you've pretty much owned nearly every major console come out,
that came out March 2002, and also I think it was around about. I don't know if it was around about the same time or before, or slightly after. We had the original Xbox, which I
Mhm.
wasn't gonna get and wasn't keen on whatsoever. It's like, what's this big ugly thing? What is this controller? I didn't know what any of the games really were. Like, what's this Halo? Like, ne- like, it's not Sonic, it's not Mario. Like, who are you? What are you doing here? Sort of thing. And then I remember playing in a Virgin Media. Oh, was Virgin Media? No, that's the thing. Virgin Megastore. That's it. Yeah, Virgin
That's the
Megastore.
one. Yep.
It's like, again, really randomly, like, you would not see a Halo in a kiosk now because of like the age things, but like they had Halo set up um like the single player, and I played the first mission not the first one, that's Pillar of Autumn, the second level, which is called Halo, and like the whole bit, how the demo was, it started with the opening bit from the Pillar of Autumn level, and I was like, oh, these graphics, and like the whole twin stick shooter is like, I've never really played a twin stick like shooter. There's like it's like GoldenEye, Perfect Dark. It's like, wait, like it just blew my mind, and it's like,
Mhm.
okay, this is actually pretty good. And then they must have done an updated. They did like an updated bundle, which like they had one. I think it was a Woolworths exclusive, which had Jet Set Radio Future and Midtown Madness free, I think. And I got that for Christmas that year. Because I played the Halo, I was like, I actually kind of like this game. It's pretty good. And then like I looked more up on the Xbox, and like you said with the Sega games, I saw Jet Set Radio was on there.
Yep.
Gundam Valkyrie was originally a Dreamcast game, was coming to it. Buffy was originally a Dreamcast game, was coming to it. Sega GT 2002 was coming to it. I'm trying to think what else. Dead or Alive 3, okay, it's not Sega, but Dead or Alive 2 was, on Dreamcast, and Dead or Alive 1 was like on Saturn. So I was like, actually, this has got a lot of games I know and stuff, and like, if you look back now, it's like all the stuff that it was going to be backwards compatible with the Dreamcast. Hence why it uses the same buttons and colours and stuff like that. So hey, this actually got quite a few games. Once I asked for one of them, so I got the original Xbox for Christmas that year, and then that became my main system, because really, if you think about it, like it had all the third party games, and it's like, this was like really weird. Like, when does a new console suddenly come out? Manufacturers like get all the third party games. Like, compare it to Nintendo, you think it would have been the other way round. It would have been more like the GameCube, and the GameCube would have been more like the Xbox, so it's first party support. And if you went into Game or Game Station or whatever back then, like the Xbox side, it's just like almost as big as the PS2's. So it became my main
Mhm.
system, because it's gonna sound a typical mass. It's like I had the better graphics of the games on the PS2. I had online. So like Halo 2 going online and Project Gotham Racing, okay, you could do that on the PS2. You had to buy the broadband adapter, and like on the GameCube it was Phantasy Star. That was it. That had the online. And it's like you got Rainbow Six, like on the original Xbox. It's like, this is amazing. You could play. It was like mind blowing. Like, I had a Dreamcast and I played on like the internet browser and downloaded a few things off Choo Choo Rocket, but it was like ridiculously expensive to do it. It's like mind blowing. You can play someone like in the other country on this
Yep.
thing, and it's just like weird. And then like obviously the big thing was System Link. Like, no one talks about LAN or anything anymore, apart from like some like in the PC community. But me and my mate both had an original Xbox, and then his brother got one. So we went, like, had them like all connected, and like had the cables coming out of his like bedroom windows going into like downstairs, and like everyone had like a TV, and like we played Halo multiplayer like that. It's just
I never got the chance to do
yeah,
like LAN connection or anything like that, but it would have been a really really good experience, I'm sure, if
yeah,
I
like
played on your own
staying
TV
up at
like in the
like
same
2 o'clock in
house.
like the morning, like everyone's
Yeah,
in their own
yeah.
room, like I think I was in the kitchen, or like one of the brothers was in his room, one was like in like um the front room stuff, so everyone could like sort of still talk to each other without like making too much like racket. That's like really good, and it's like again, this is where I played like first time I played like Star Wars, Knights of the Republic, Jade Empire, like BioWare games, and like this is the first time I played like Western RPGs. Was
Hmm. Games that still
yeah,
sit with you
like
and
I
like have
used to
inspired you to play
yeah
other
like
things like later on.
because I played Star Wars and Jade Empire, I went and played Mass Effect, and because I played Mass
Hmm.
Effect,
Yep.
it's like well, why I played Morrowind is like why I played Oblivion, and because I played Oblivion, so I played Fallout, even though I wasn't keen on Fallout. So it's like opened me up to a whole other genre of games. So yeah, by this point, like
Hmm.
the PS2 was like way by the wayside. Like the GameCube and the original Xbox both did what I needed. Like Nintendo had plenty of exclusives, really good ones. Played it multiplayer all the time, like on Smash Bros and Soul Calibur. Xbox had all the third party titles and they were better, and like the wrestling games, okay, they weren't as good, but you can put in your own music on WWF Raw because you can like rep a CD to the original Xbox and have your own thing.
That's such a good
And I
feature.
think they did the
That's a
same
good
with like
feature.
GTA. You could have your own like radio station and Tony Hawk's and stuff. And then you had online, which like completely changed the game for me. And then playing multiplayer on Halo, like even took part in Halo tournaments and stuff like that. Not online, but like a local one. It was like we had like this league and
Hmm.
everything, and it's like I was like, oh, it's so good.
It does kind of like these consoles. I think this
Yeah,
sort of era of gaming for you really did
yeah.
shape how you became, how you then went on
This
from there. I'm
it's to
sure.
me, it's a weird one. I
Um,
would say that's most probably my favorite generation because I love the Dreamcast, I love the GameCube, I love the original Xbox. Don't really like the PS2, but it has got some great games on there. I just it had four consoles that generation, and like three of them are like three of my favorites like all time. It's because I think again it's like
mhm.
2000. You're looking at like 2011 to no 2001 to like 2005. So I would have been 11 to 15. So it's like
Yeah. Plus, people had kind of like
yeah.
the developers and everything had started to get how to
Mm,
code a 3D game. Like PS1, N64 era, they were still getting to grips with how do
mm,
we make this 3D game? How do we make 3D gaming work? But by the next generation,
yeah.
they'd really started to get the gist of it and put out some all-time classics. And yeah, and then from there, like I was saying, like we all know that you've owned nearly every
Mm.
other console that's come since then. Like you've got like 17 Xbox Ones in your
Yeah,
loft
because
somewhere, I'm
after
sure.
then because after
uh,
like then the next console out was the was the Xbox 360, which I got which I got at
PS3 after
launch.
that.
Which, if I remember correctly, I got Perfect Dark, Call of Duty, Project Gotham Racing 3, and Cameo Elements of Power at launch. And I couldn't get a premium. I had to have a course. I had to buy a memory card, but always control. And I think that was like 425 quid or something like that. Uh,
Yep,
yeah, because
gaming's
you
got
think
more
the
and more
GameCube was
pricey.
264, and then I had four games with.
Mm.
I also had four games with my Xbox, like the GameCube. But I also had a memory card. I also had an extra controller. Yeah, it was like 200 quid more. I was like in like a 4 year gap. Um,
Yep, well that's probably a side product of gaming hitting
yeah,
the mainstream, as you will. Like more consoles becoming more and
yeah.
more expensive, and our hobbies become a
Yeah,
bit of a drain on our
and you got to think
wallets as
like when
time's
that
gone
came out,
on.
it's 2005, so I would have been 15. So I would have been helping my uncle in like his shop and like the market, so I would have like money, so I mean it's save for it and stuff like that. Yeah, so
Exactly.
got the 360.
Yeah.
Quite like the 360. Like now looking at my Xbox One, my game score is 80,000. I reckon 65,000 of that is from the 360 era sort of thing. And again, it's like where I play Mass Effects, played Oblivion, obviously Halos, Gears, the First Forces, and then even at launch you had Perfect Dark and Cameo and things like that. Yeah, but then the Wii came along in 2006, which was interesting.
It's a total change of pace from
Mm,
there. Like you've got the Wii, and then you had like your
yeah,
PS3 and your 360 kind of doing their own thing. Kind of the start of
yeah.
Nintendo doing their own
Well, I
thing really
think
from
because
this generation onwards.
even though they were level with the original Xbox, like sales wise, like they were like miles behind, and they were losing each generation. So I think they had to try something different. Yeah, I remember getting a Wii at launch. Again, I can't remember. I think that was really cheap. I think that was like the same price as the GameCube, which like really helped the Wii compared to the 360 and PS3. And
It was
yeah, but yeah,
£180.
I
I
think it
remember it.
got Red Steel with it, Super Monkey Ball, Twilight Princess, and Rayman, Raving Rabbids or something. Yeah, I got those
Raving
four
Rabbits.
games
Yep,
at
yep, yep.
launch. Twilight Princess is great, and the thing is, I also got it on GameCube as well because that's where it's made for. So I also got picked that up later on because it was like slightly delayed. Yeah, but my dad was when I bought it, and I like showed my dad Wii Sports, and I showed him this, and he was like, "You'll sell that in 6 months." And it's like he knew nothing about games really. He was absolutely bang on.
He's got you pegged into a T. The amount of times you sold
Yeah, but he was
rebought consoles. There's
yeah, but you
mass.
knew how much loved the GameCube, and at this point I hadn't really sold. Like I sold my N64 and like my PS1 I was sold to save up for my Dreamcast. Sort of like made sense while I was getting rid of them, sort of thing. But like this was like totally out of the blue. It was like, yeah, you can sell that in 6 months. I'm like, and I did. I thought well, I might not be 6. I remember playing Super Mario Galaxy on it, but I remember like not really using the Wii. I've had quite a few since, but like I just played my 360 with a normal controller, and I didn't, at this time I had a HD TV in 2005, for instance, and like, why is this in standard definition, sort of thing? And it's like, I just didn't get on with it. Like I said,
You're gonna rustle a few feathers with that comment
yeah,
on the forum,
I
I'm
just
sure.
like Wii Sports was neat and cool, and it's like, this is a great idea. But after like a while, it got boring. But like Twilight Princess, like I said, was good, and I've picked up Wii since, and like Skyward. I remember picking up again a Wii really late for like Skyward Sword and Xenoblade and Last Story and Pandora's Tower. And like when there's suddenly like there's the influx of like 4 or 5 quality games seem to come out of like nowhere. Like everyone that's mostly owned a Wii on the forum, like, well, we had quality games every single month, and it's like, yeah, but you didn't have Mass Effect or Oblivion or Assassin's Creed or Bioshock and Red Dead and all those sort of games, and that's what I was playing at the time.
That's kind of what you've been playing for most of your life up to that point. Those sort of games, like we're discussing that. So it's just it's really interesting, like hearing about how your gaming history's developed, I suppose, because it's a different path from like we had Zero on in the first episode, we had Drunk on in the second episode, and it is different to the other two because you've been more like with the Sega route rather than the Nintendo route from an early age. I suppose really the only kind of real similarity so far I can think is that both you and Drunka kind of really got to love Nintendo with the GameCube sort of
and
era,
that's the thing. Like I went from the GameCube to the Wii, and it never seemed as like good. Like I wanted proper controller, but after the Wii, the PS3 came out, and I was mad enough to buy a PS3 at launch.
There goes your mortgage.
No, that was my first ever proper pay packet. Was the PS3. So I quite often there's like these weird things, like I've seen like questions on things like, what did you first spend your pay packet on, and that, and like you ask different people from like different years. Mine was on the PS3. Yeah. So
they got a small payday loan to supplement
it. So I got PS3 I got MotorStorm, Resistance, and a HDMI cable for £425.
First 2 games. Price maybe not as much.
Considering I got 4 games, an extra controller, and a memory card for my 360, which came out in 2005, and just came out in March 2007. And it's like, the price wasn't good, but it was like the cheapest Blu-ray player on the market, if I remember correctly. Well, it wasn't much different in price to a Blu-ray player, and having a HD TV and had like nothing that used it apart from the 360. That was a big selling point for me. And for ages, that was what I used my PS3 for. A bit like the PS2, I used the DVD player until I got my original Xbox. It's like, I just used my PS3 as a Blu-ray player because I had like hardly any games for ages, and the ports were dreadful compared to the 360, and yeah. It was not a good launch, and it's like really weird. And like I look back at the PS3 now, it's like at the end of the PS3, it's like its games library and it's like what was coming out at the end for it was like fantastic, but the start was awful because I had that stupid cell processor and stuff like that. No one can figure out how to use it. It just took ages to like sort of get.
Definitely a console plagued with many issues.
But it had some fairly good games in the start. Like Heavenly Sword wasn't too bad. The first Uncharted was okay, and obviously Metal Gear Solid 4: Guns of the Patriot was like the big selling point for me because it must have been the E3 in 2006. Konami showed that off and a few other things, and Square had their press conference, and they showed Final Fantasy 13, which looked fantastic. They showed Final Fantasy versus 13. I think they might even show Kingdom Hearts 3, and I think they might have shown Final Fantasy 7, the tech demo at the and like Square Enix, apart from the Blu-ray player, sold me on the PS3, and like half of those games didn't even come to the PS3.
I was gonna say that sounds like they also sold you on a PS4 as well.
So, it was an odd one.
And we won't really go too much into detail on
Yeah.
the modern generation because we're still in the middle
Yeah,
of that for now. But we
Yeah,
all know
again, it
you've
was
got
like
pretty
I
much
picked up a
every
Switch,
console going.
a Wii U at launch, a Switch at launch, blah blah blah. Again, like the DS, I didn't talk about that. I bought an American import of that, so I had mine like 12 or 6 months early and had Super Mario 64 on that. But obviously, I bought the upgrades like the DS Lite and stuff like that. PSP, I didn't actually get one of them at launch. I got one like about 12 months later. Someone was selling on really, really cheap, so that's when I got a PSP. And the Vita, I did get a Vita at launch because it actually had a decent launch line at the Vita. Everyone actually forgets that because I had like Uncharted and Marvel vs. Capcom, FIFA and stuff like that. I actually had a but then again, much like the Wii and even the 3DS, it had like a huge dry spout of like nothing. Like the 3DS, like Nintendo, even remember they gave us those GBA games because of the dry spout. Yeah,
The ambassador
sort of thing
codes,
because of that. Yes, it's weird, but then that would take me up to now. So the simplest form of my history is Mega Drive, PS1, all the systems, and then like all the systems, and again all the systems, that sort of thing.
No, but it's interesting seeing, like I said, where
Yeah.
your roots fall and like what kind of inspired you, and like it's interesting to get a bit of context behind why
Yeah.
you love the Dreamcast so much, because everyone does know you
Yeah.
as the Dreamcast guy on the forum.
Yeah,
So it's good
but
to get a
like
bit of
I
context
have,
into that.
because like I said, my uncle with his shop and the market and stuff. That's how I had the opportunity to again pick up the N64, and it's like how I went back and played, had a NES and a SNES, and like how I got a Mega Drive again, for instance, and that's how I played the Atari Jaguar. 'Cause I managed to buy one off someone. Same with Virtual Boy. So I've played like, I remember listing it once. I think it was on SONM, like their forum. They had like a thread on there, like what consoles have you owned? I think I got like to 50 different consoles, and that wasn't even counting like
Jeez.
PS2 and PS2 Slim. That was just going Jag, Lynx, Virtual Boy, Neo Geo Pocket Color, Neo Geo CD, etc. Just because I sort of like could. It's like, Virtual Boy's coming into the shop. I'm taking this. Is that okay, everyone? Sort of thing. That's now my wages for sort of thing. Obviously, I had to get a proper job. Mentioning, hence why I said my first real packet was the PS3. Yeah.
PS3.
But then some of those like old weird consoles, I really like the Jaguar. I think it's a really underrated system, and like the Neo Geo Pocket Color, really love that. I think it's like the best handheld that isn't from Nintendo or from Sony. And even the Virtual Boy, I found that actually not as bad as people make out. Everyone says it's like awful, but I think everyone says that because they've not actually played one. Like if they play Wario on it, they'll be like, this is actually fairly decent. Why hasn't this been put on the 3DS?
Yeah, maybe the games, but the actual concept for the
Yeah,
console is
because
a
it's
bit
supposed to be it's supposed to be a handheld.
bit
And it's
out
like,
there.
how is that handheld?
Yeah,
No.
didn't really work. Well, what I'm interested here about then, Mass, is with your wide knowledge of the gaming world, of all
Yeah.
these consoles you've owned, and of all the games that you've no doubt
Yeah.
played on said consoles, just what could possibly constitute your 5 games you're going to be throwing down into the GNamer Vault? Now I should preface this by saying that we had a bit of a
Yeah,
conversation
because
on
I
Twitter
saw.
before we launched episodes. Because Mass, tell the listeners, what game did you want to put into the vault
I
that
was
isn't
thinking
even
about
out
Death
yet?
Stranding into the vault.
Right, so before before we talk about your actual 5 games,
Right.
why?
Right. I think I misunderstood like the because I know me saying you've like sort of ripped off the rotating platform when that was a thing, and then obviously Desert Island Disc, and I was thinking like, oh, we're putting them in a vault because we've got to save these games because there's lava or something's blown up or something. Not that the games are banned. And the reason I thought Death Stranding was Norman Reedus actually said himself, and this is like really worries about me about Death Stranding. He said something like, "Oh yeah, I'm not sure if this game will be appreciated in its own time." So I'm like,
Oh dear.
well, if I'm thinking, well, if I take it in the vault, maybe eventually we will appreciate it.
So we just keep it down there until it becomes a good game.
Yeah,
It's basically what you're
I'm
saying.
trying to think of other things like that. There must be books or films or whatever that weren't liked when they first came out and now are like really loved. And that's the only way I can really think about it. And it's like how he was talking. It's like, oh yeah, it does this and this and this, and it's like, oh, and I remember Mark Cerny like was on the panel. It's like, I think he said like, when people say there's no gameplay, well, we've now seen gameplay. It's like I think Mark Cerny is like, oh yeah, I've played it for it took me 14 hours to understand it. Like, okay, it's gonna be totally Kojima. That's why I wanted to save it because it was like because it's gonna be
Right.
totally out there. Plus, I didn't know if like is there someone else down the road saving films or anything. And I was like, because this is gonna star Norman Reedus, Mads Mikkelsen, and stuff like that. So I was thinking maybe we should save it to.
Just chuck it in the film vault
so
instead,
I was thinking
basically.
maybe we should save it because of these actors are in it. So that was my like why my heavily thinking of it.
Right, that gives me a bit more context. It was just ludicrous when I saw
Yeah.
that message come through.
Yeah, plus I
originally,
was
but there we
thinking by the
go.
time you this goes up, it most probably be out.
Right, okay, right. Now I've definitely got to get it up before next
What
year.
next year? You mean like 2020? I don't know.
Oh, is that when it's coming
There's
out? I thought it was
rumours
next
it's gonna
year.
Come out early next year. Like it could be like the February
That's what I
game,
thought,
and then
but-
there's like rumors like Last of Us would be like the June game or something. Bit like God of War to Detroit, and then something like Ghost of Tsushima would be next year. Spider-Man, roughly what I can gather.
Well, with that now out of the way, let's have a little talk about your 5
Yeah.
games you're going to be popping in to the GNamer Vault. Before we get to any of that, let us listen to a brief tune from the first game on your list.
the glory.
So, Mass, regale us. What is game number 1
My game
on your
list
list?
is I'm going in like I don't know if the other two decided to have in a certain order of their list. Like I know how like Luke had Pikmin and then Animal Crossing and that, but mine is just in alphabetical order. And the first one is Bioshock Infinite. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You're
Okay.
saying before on Twitter
Okay.
I would have a game in a series which you wouldn't be suspect, and it is actually Bioshock Infinite from 2013, not Bioshock.
That is surprising because when you talk about that series, you know, people say
Yeah.
Bioshock all-time classic, Bioshock 2, it's okay, it's pretty good, and Bioshock Infinite is very mixed. Some people love it, some people
Yeah.
don't love it as much. Why
This is a
Bioshock
hard
Infinite?
choice, like trying to decide on which one of Bioshock and Bioshock Infinite to go for, and like I said, I'm not 100% like on the concept of the thing, and I was thinking Bioshock is like, it's got this fantastic atmosphere and story, but I thought, is it a bit too dark in that? And I was like, but Infinite, what my thinking of saving Infinite over Bioshock was, the Columbia is much more bright and colourful than Rapture. Hasn't got the same atmosphere. But the other big thing is Elizabeth. I think she is a fantastic companion character. Maybe up there with Ellie. That was my other choice. Maybe to go in here instead of Bioshock was The Last of Us. Because of Ellie. And I tried to find a mix of both Last of Us and Bioshock. Which I came with Infinite. Due to Elizabeth mainly. And that is sort of my main reason. It's like, if I wanted to save 5 games, I wanted to show a reason to show these games and like something that they did. And this, I think the AI that for Elizabeth's character, the VO between Troy Baker's Booker DeWitt and is it Courtney Draper? I think it's Courtney Draper is someone Google that if I'm wrong.
You know better than me, but I'll get our intrepid researcher on that right now. Being that
I think it's Courtney Draper as Elizabeth. They work fantastic together, and that's the other thing is the soundtrack of this. I quite often, I don't know, I suddenly just randomly go on YouTube and I watch Courtney Draper. Like I said, I think it's Courtney Draper. It might be like Ashley Johnson or something, or Laura. No, it's definitely not Laura Bailey. It's
Courtney Draper.
And like Courtney Draper and Troy Baker with Ken Levine in this room just singing Circle of Unbroken. I think it's a Johnny Cash song. And it's like, yeah.
Is that when they got the guitar?
And I'm like,
yeah, I remember that moment. That's a good moment in the game.
So good. And again, Ken Levine, I think he's a great director. I wanted to like put something of his in. So really, I think the gameplay on Bioshock Infinite is the worst of the 3 Bioshock games. It's pretty linear, but I think the story is really good on it. Even though someone said that they saw the ending coming. I hear Burial at Sea, which I haven't played, but I presume like the Game of the Year edition of Bioshock Infinite would go in the vault. And I've heard really good things of Burial at Sea, which is set in Rapture, so we would still get Rapture. And Elizabeth is a completely different character in that. And also, if you're going to have only 5 games from myself and 10 other people do this on the forum, we're going to have 50 games in there. Like, what would I want to replay? And I'm trying to think again, back to the film vault. Like, you would think the same. Like, what would I really want to watch? And that is sort of what I'm thinking here. Like, what would I really want to do the story of? What would I sort of really want to watch? And I do think that Bioshock Infinite, and like I said, the soundtrack is great, voice acting is great. So there's lots of, like, you had it on like a mantle and you go, what is this in here? And like, that. I can understand why this is like in this vault.
I totally get it. Yeah, like I really enjoy my time of Bioshock Infinite. Like I totally understand with your point about the art style. It's like really refreshingly colourful at points, which is kind of counter to this,
But
dark,
you would, like I said, if
atmosphere,
it was like the Game of the Year version, you would still have that of Burial at Sea as well. So.
Yep.
I've not played that.
Like I really enjoy Burial at Sea.
Infinite came out in 2013. It's like weird point. It's like bought it, played it, sold it because I'm saving up for a PS4 sort of deal, and I've not picked up the HD collection on like PS4 or Xbox One. So.
Nope, it's just a cracking little bit of DLC. So
that's like
the
thing. Like Bioshock 2, everyone says Mariva. Is it Mariva Den? It's like but everyone says that's Den. Like really good. I'm like, but I gotta play Bioshock 2 though.
But and like I totally get your point as well. You're making about the Elizabeth being a great, like the whole game essentially is an escort mission, but it never ever feels like that. Like she's there to actively help you, using the powers where she can like phase things in and out of the battlefield. Like was really really cool. Like you can phase her. And that you would then get a grappling point to then swing up and get a vantage point. So there's more to the gameplay than I think you were letting on there. Like
Bioshock when it first came out was like really refreshing, and maybe compared when Infinite came out, and I think they made it slightly more first-person shootery. I think to help sell it compared to
Yeah.
the original Bioshock. But again, it's mainly due to wanting to put something that showed like a cool companion, and I think it was only this or The Last of Us. Because Ocarina of Time, Navi, that's a fantastic companion.
Are you?
No,
You're
I'm
not being serious,
serious.
no. Okay. You were really,
Yeah.
really deadpan there, Matt. So I couldn't tell. Couldn't tell. Very good. Well done. You got me. You got me. In terms of Bioshock Infinite there as well, like you mentioned the voice work. Like I think that's something really important to talk about too, because like Bioshock Infinite compared to the first game, and like, the whole Bioshock series as a whole, but definitely Infinite, like the story is
Mm.
told so brilliantly just for their relationships there, and I think that's a
Yeah,
very good
and then
reason
like
to
I
include
said,
it
they
too.
sing "Circle Unbroken" like by Johnny Cash, but like there's a bit in the game where there's like a barbershop quartet on like a boat, and they're singing like I think they're singing like an Oasis song or something, and there's like a few other like weird songs, like modern songs, because the whole
Yeah.
time thing that's been like sung in like this weird barbershop style. So I found that kind of interesting. Again, it's a way to like have songs in the vault as well. So
I mean,
yeah,
music and film aren't banned.
it's
It's
just
just games. There's no music vault. There's no film
see,
vault. Just
I
games.
was thinking there's like Trump's banned all entertainment music. It's all fake. It's all
All
fake. So
entertainment.
we've got to save it all.
No, it's just games. We are
Mm,
ripping off every other sort
yeah.
of podcast that does this there, but
No,
there's no
okay.
other vaults. It's just games. We're all good. So, I suppose with that then,
Yeah.
if you're happy enough to move on, let's rock and roll on to your second game. But first, a tune from said game. So, Mass, what did we just listen
That
to?
was
What
from
was that from?
Firewatch.
Oh, brilliant choice. Brilliant, brilliant
Uh,
choice. I've got a lot to say on this, but yeah, why
Pretty much
Firewatch?
the reasons to Bioshock Infinite. Like the voice acting between I can't remember who plays Henry, but obviously Cissy Jones plays Delilah, who's fantastic. Who is
Hmm.
not really a companion character, but she guides you through the game through radio. And obviously the game is set in is it Yellowstone County or something like that, or Wyoming? But we're a
I
Firewatch
cannot
Ranger
recall where it's
in
from.
hence the name Firewatch in like yeah
Wyoming. It is Wyoming, yeah.
in a forest. Yeah, and I just it's a weird one. I'm thinking again story wise, this is getting turned into a film, and I think Campo Santo even doing the film or helping on it. But was their first game because they're doing that weird Egypt game. But this is their first game. Someone from worked on The Walking
Yep.
Dead, but personally, I think it can show you what a talented studio can do, and like a new sort of. I know it's not going to be a sequel, but like a sort of new IP. Like not everything has to be an established title. New studios can do new things. Has a really unique art style. Like sort of like Henry's like a sort of like a Wreck-It Ralph type character. Um,
Yeah, he is.
yeah.
Yeah, like hairy
The
arms.
opening of it is one of like the most. It's the closest you can come to it. Is like Up opening.
Yeah, that's a really good comparison. Now, I don't want to
Yeah.
get too much into spoiler territory because I know this is heading
Yeah.
switchward, and a
It's
lot of people
mostly
that
going to be
listen to
out
this will
on
probably
Switch by
pick
the
this
time
up.
this goes up.
We don't know when it's coming out. Leave me alone. It could come out next month. You don't know. Yeah, like that's a really, really apt comparison. Like such a heartbreaking opening.
Yeah.
Like,
So the opening on it and everything, and then Henry's like sort of like rebuilding himself as a person due to what happened in the start. It's a fantastic bit of storytelling. The only I think issue with the game is going to be short, but obviously would have it's got replay value. It's got the commentary thing. Again, would I really want to play it? Like I would really want to watch the film, and it is getting a film version. So yes. So the only negative I think is that some people will have with the ending, which I had no problem with. I thought it made sense in the story, but I think some people were just hoping for a bit more.
Yeah, I think again, without trying to get too much into spoiler territory here, I think it was one of the most realistic endings, like
Yeah.
in a game so far. Like it genuinely felt
Yeah.
quite true to life in a sense, even. Um, but yeah, I won't say much more than that because I would highly recommend that other people do
Yeah.
play Firewatch when it rolls
Yeah,
around.
I'm. This is weird, right? I'm sort of tempted to double dip for it on Switch because I said really like that game. But I've even looked at like buying the vinyl and stuff off Campo Santo store, so I really want to support that studio. But then, of course, sort of looking at buying it on Xbox One just because it's got the achievements, and I don't know if it's X enhanced or anything like that. And so I'm like, oh, put it's on the go on the Switch. When's it coming? Or I can buy it now, and it's got achievements and stuff. So I don't know. I'm definitely most really going to rebuy it and replay it at some point.
Definitely should, and I think like again we're retreading a lot of similar points we spoke about with Bioshock Infinite, but the art style's
Yeah,
really
and
really
that's
nice in
again, I
Firewatch.
wanted
Like
these 5 games to all be really different, different art style. Like none of the even though they're both sort of colourful and bright, Bioshock Infinite and Firewatch, they both look completely different. Yeah.
like Bioshock Infinite feels like
Mm.
like a summer game with like the very
Yeah.
bright blue skies. Firewatch feels like an autumnal game, like lots
Mm.
of reds and oranges and like the paths. It feels like a really at points lonely game, like when you're just traversing like the trails. But then you get the little messages every now and then from
Yeah.
Delilah, which is just to break the silence. There's a really really cool Twitter thread I'm going to try and see if I can dig out and link about somebody who played Firewatch and got really interested in fire towers and fire wardens in the US, and now is actually become is their job now is a historian for documenting things about fire
Cool.
towers just
Cool.
because of this game,
Yeah.
which is a really really cool element. I'll find a Twitter. I'll
Yeah.
see if I can dig the Twitter
I'm
thread out
really
'cause it's a really
interested
good read.
in their next game, which I can't remember what it's called, but it's like set in Egypt. That's
In the Valley of
one. Yeah, that's
Gods.
the one. Also,
Yep.
that game in this studio gives me a really big hint for my next game as well. Yeah.
On your list,
This was a triumph.
well, I can't really think of anything that'd be like, I can't think myself, but thankfully you guys won't need to wait that much longer because you're about to listen to a tune from said game. So, Mass, reveal it all. What was that game?
Technically, it is a game, but I would personally say it's more of a tech demo. Like how I would say Nintendo Land is a tech demo, or how 1-2 Switch is a tech demo. They are games, but they're mainly there to show what the system could do. Hence the Wii U, the gamepad, or the Switch, like the Joy-Cons with the HG Rumble and the AR sensor, and you can shoot your stuff with the Cowboy. So you know the game I mean, and the milk the cow, and it's like
Yeah. No, I'm just laughing thinking about the time that I totally bottled the Duel
okay.
1-2 Switch fighting against Zero. Sorry, that was just a
Okay.
dark memory.
Yeah, so you get my point of what sort of game this is. So this is The Lab from 2016, which is for the HTC Vive.
This was out of left field. As you may not be too surprised to hear, know nothing about this. I don't even know if there's going to be a song I can think from this.
Probably will, because it is what's called The Lab. Obviously, it was it's free to download on Steam. It is from Valve, who obviously partnered with HTC with the Vive. So
wow, Valve made a game.
The Valve. Do you get the connection between the two games now, Firewatch and The Lab? Valve is the connection.
No.
Valve bought Campo Santo. Yeah.
Right. Okay. I did not know that. So no way I would never get that connection.
It's bad when you have to explain the joke.
You know,
wasn't really a joke. It was just like
Listen, if anybody else in the forum got that connection, then fair play. I don't think they will have, Mass.
Yeah. So like I said, it's free. It's for HTC Vive, so it's VR. And I'm expecting no one else to put a VR game into the vault, so I wanted a VR title. And why I picked this, it's got 8 different sort of mini games on it. I have played this. I've played it at EGX, but I don't think I actually played the lab. I think I played a bunch of demos mixed together because definitely played 2 things that aren't in this, which is Tilt Brush, which is like an art thing. It basically gives you a blank canvas and you like paint it in the 360 degrees. And I played Job Simulator, which obviously aren't in this package. You have the 8 games in the package are Slingshot, Longbow, Vortex, Postcards, Human Medical Scan, Solar System, Robot Repair, and Secret Shop. So you've got 8 things. And the one I have played is Robot Repair, which is set in the Portal universe. Right. Hence why you might be able to sign for music. You might be able to sign something from Portal. Set in the Portal universe. And the little robots from Portal 2, are they Wheatley in something? I've not played Portal 2.
No, Wheatley's
Okay, whatever the 2 co-op
it's,
robots are. Okay, well, the 2 co-op robots, one of them's broken, and basically got to repair him, and obviously this is all in VR. Played at EGX, so they had plenty of room, lot of space, and the Vive, difference between the Vive and the PSVR and like the Rift is it's got motion cameras, so they go up in like each. This is why like no one's got a Vive, because one, they're stupidly expensive and you have to have like a huge room, because basically you put the motion cameras in each corner, which gives you 360 sort of control compared to the PSVR. Rift sort of does it, but not as good as the Vive. So stood in this room in VR, and you basically walk around this garage, which seemed aimless, and basically all you did was pick up parts from that and put the robot back together. And I presume like the the surgeon simulator I know you're cutting humans and but that sort of concept. Yeah, and
Similar
it's got things like that.
Okay.
Like medical scan sensor. I like I said, I've not really looked up the other ones. I know Secret Shop is you basically run like an RPG shop, from like and you're the shopkeeper sort of thing, and you got to pick.
Just had flashbacks to having to do that.
Yeah,
and you
got to like get stuff off like the shelves and thing, and give them to like the customers. And the solar system is like again this whole solar system. Longbow, I think, is just basically used to like the 2 sort of like Wiimote things, but like slightly bigger and like more advanced, where you can obviously pull together and shoot the bow. Basically shows everything the Vive can do with like the 360 degrees thing. Again, like I said, I only really wanted to put it in to just have a VR title, and I couldn't really think of another one that did everything. So if I put Batman Arkham VR, it's just Batman, and that's what it does. So this was the best option. There's like VR worlds and that, but this, from what I've played of VR, this is the best concept of it. And me and Luke did a podcast after EGX that year, and I was like, I could think of some really cool things for this, like a horde, because it's like 360 room, a horde mode, for instance, like the 2 like dual shots, not dual shots, like Wiimote, they're your guns, and like the zombies or whatever are coming from all directions, and you can move whole 360 degrees. You're just not stood on the spot shooting like the zombies. There is games that do that, but because they want to try to make it work on Rift and PSVR, they're not as 360 degrees as they, you can't walk around the whole room like you can in this, because it's made just for Vive. There is a proper Portal game for this as well, Valve did.
What included in
the
in
robot
this
repair one, which you fix the robots from there and stuff. And GLaDOS even turns up, but Valve did do like a proper Portal universe title for HTC 5 as well. Yeah.
All right. Well, it's banned now though, Mass.
Banned?
Can't play that game anymore.
Yeah.
It's just the lab. It's banned.
It's just
That's the thing though, Mass.
Yeah.
Can't put that one in the vault. So you
Yeah.
played Robot Repair. Did you play
No,
any
like I
of the
said, the
7 others?
demo I played, because it was when I played at EGX, it was in the NVIDIA booth. So like you sign up, the woman basically takes you in the room and is like, right, you gotta put this on. Hopefully, like put the headset on, and then you just played like a load of demos. And like I said, there's Tilt Brush, which is the art sort of game, and there was Job simulator, and then this, which obviously was the partnership with Valve, HTC, and Nvidia, like the PC running it. And for instance, like Tilt Brush is a free sort of app for it. Obviously, Job Simulator is a proper game and came to PSVR. But this is sort of what sold me at VR. VR was the HTC V5. It's just at the time, I think it was 800 quid for a Vive, and then obviously you had to have a PC that would be able to run it as well, and the space for the cameras. Yeah. Otherwise, you were just going to play the same games which you could play on the Rift, and the Rift was like 400.
Yeah,
and it was like, and then the Rift never sort of seemed that much better to PSVR to me. So, that's why I went for PSVR at the time. But yeah, it's just I wanted to put it in there to have a VR title, have something different. I think everyone can have a laugh at these 8 different sort of mini games sort of thing. Because I don't know if like the likes of Wii Sports or anything will go in, and this is sort of like a close, weird alternative.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds more akin
to
like Wii
more
Play
like Wii. Yeah, that kind of
there.
makes sense. More like the Wii Play or something. Like I said, or maybe closer to 1, 2, 3 Switch than like a Wii Sports. Because
1, 2, 3 Switch.
Oh, you know what I meant.
You meant, sorry, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
It's a sequel. It sold that many. Had to get the high demand out for 1, 2 Switch. Yeah, definitely a bit different there. Like I would never have thought of putting a VR game into the list at all. But it's not really for me, the VR sort of concept.
Yeah, I think this is the one that would sell most people on VR. Because
a good reason to include it
has the 360 degrees, so you can walk around the room and you can look down, look up, and that properly. I think it's just that not many people would have the opportunity to do so unless you go to the likes of EasyX or know someone that's got like bags of money and like plenty of space.
Well, the problem is here, Mass, in the underground tunnels of the gaming resistance, we're not going to have a lot of room to set up a VR chamber. But if we get our little picks out, we can maybe dig a big hole, a VR chamber of sorts there. This is the bleak future that we live in. Anything else on the lab you want to talk about?
No, not really. That I can add to it.
Perfect. Well, it's definitely a bit unique, including a VR game. I think you're right in what you're saying. I don't see anybody else in the forum popping a VR game in. Andy, there's a very, 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 very long shot he pops a VR game in. But,
the only other person like Luke may have been gone, but he has played some VR when I've PTGX with him. But then it was more like the Gear VR and stuff. I remember we were playing a few like really basic Rift stuff, which was also coming to Gear, and I think Must might have played a few bits of places than that. But yeah, it's a really odd one, and like I said, it's more akin to like an arcade machine or something. If I said like Luigi Mansion, the arcade machine, like how many people would have played that? It was a time and place, and it's a hard one to do, but I think it's worth going in.
Fair enough. Yeah. I definitely see your reasoning.
Someday you go through the rain, and someday you'll feel on a tree.
See, Death Stranding could not go onto my list. It is a Kojima title.
Oh, well, I'd be stunned if we weren't getting one.
Yeah, I thought I could only put one in, and hopefully you put the correct song before this, because the game is Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater.
Yes, of course. I've already got the Ocelot's theme lined up for this one, so you're already good to go. Don't you worry.
The best Bond film theme not being in a Bond film.
You'll get sneakier in a sense. Don't worry. Yeah, that's a absolutely stellar choice. I've got plenty to talk about with this game, but I'll hand the reins over to yourself there, Mass. Why MGS3?
I think this is my hardest choice. With the Bioshock and The Last of Us, it was like a flip of the coin, like which I honestly didn't really know which Metal Gear to put in. They like when I rank them or whatever, I'm never sure which one. They all have like a special place. Metal Gear Solid was the first one I played, and obviously as a standalone game, it works quite well. 2, I remember being like ridiculously excited for. It was one of the reasons I actually did get a PS2, and I think I even pre-ordered that. And why I bought Son of the Enders, because it came with the demo of the tanker level for Metal Gear Solid 2. So that was the thing. Metal Gear Solid 4 I was tempted by, because it wraps up the series, but then I was thinking, if we've only got Metal Gear Solid 4 in the vault, people are going to be really confused what this is, and they'll be like, why has this got a 90-minute final cutscene? And they'll be like, what the hell is this? And Metal Gear Solid 5, I think, has got the best gameplay out of them, but it does have the weakest story. It does have a great opening, though, and even though you do replay it, and the ending wasn't finished, but sort of finished, because it does make sense if you know your Metal Gear games that you know. So 3 got picked because it's the one that does everything out of all of them.
Yeah.
You can play it as a standalone game because it's the first one in the timeline, so you don't need to know about any other Metal Gear game. If you played another Metal Gear, you're like, oh, that's Ocelot or whatever, but you don't need to play another Metal Gear game to play this, so that's a point. It's got a completely different setting to the rest of them, being in the jungle, and then so that's different. The gameplay is different. See, I say on the gameplay because I played it originally on PS2, and I didn't really like it. But then I played Subsistence, which they fixed the controls and the camera, which is a much better version of it. So technically, it's Metal Gear Solid 3 Subsistence that's going in. So the gameplay is good. Story's great. Voice work. Some brilliant boss fights. And that's the biggest reason. It mostly had the best boss fight in gaming. The final boss.
I think there's another boss fight in that game that's even better. But I think from a story standpoint, you don't get a better story fight than
the boss.
Than that one with this.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, shed a tear for the boss. But I much prefer the very, very tense showdown.
The end is pretty good, but then, if we start playing it in the vault and we forget about it, it'd be dead of old age, so...
A very good point. Very good point. Yeah, I think Metal Gear Solid 3 is a brilliant, brilliant choice. It's my favourite of the Metal Gear Solid games. I think it just stands up perfectly as a standalone piece, like you were saying. It is the best Bond game out there. It's just... absolutely brilliant from a story perspective. From a gameplay standpoint, it holds up well as well. It's just, there's a lot to love about it.
Yeah.
The music's good. The characters are
pretty
great
much
as well.
It ticked all my boxes. I wanted to keep music in all these games. I wanted them all to be something different. I wanted them all to be able to play on their own. And it's the only, like I said, it's the only, apart from maybe Metal Gear Solid 1, sort of 2 because you play as Raiden, it's the only one that does that out of all the Metal Gear games.
I think it's quite good as well because, compared to Metal Gear Solid 1 and 2, you've got Snake coming across as he goes through a whole journey himself. He starts off as a bit of a rookie, gets his arse kicked by the boss at the start, then goes for this big long journey. It's just a brilliant game. It really stands. Kojima's weirdness isn't as prevalent as in this as well. I think he's more just flexing his love of,
I think he
film.
Wanted,
he loves Bond.
Like I said with Snake Eater, it's the best Bond theme that isn't a Bond theme. That's basically what he sort of wanted to make, was seemed to me to wanting to make a Bond film.
Yeah, and I think because he's kind of reined in his weird, Metal Gear Solid 2's maybe played with kind of weird political stuff at the end. Metal Gear Solid 1 is not nothing too much weird. 4 is just this bonkers story.
4, like I said, 5, if you played all of them, it makes total sense. Sort of. I say it makes total sense. Yeah. It makes total sense as a Metal Gear game can make, but
as only a Metal Gear game can. But Metal Gear Solid 3, just the weird bosses, it still feels like a Kojima game, but it shouldn't turn you off in doing so.
I've said this before, Most notably of The Last of Us. Like, when that came out, everyone was like, "Oh, this is like the second coming of Jesus for video games." I was like, "No, it's not that good." And now, like, I quite often think about that game, like, still, and like things it does. And same with Snake Eater. Like, when it first came out, I thought, this. Like, again, I played it on like the first PS2 version. I thought this is a bit of like wonky. And then I played Metal Gear Solid 4. And I was like, the ending, the whole fight with Ocelot and Snake at the very end. But I'm like, I think back and was like, all the stuff that Snake Eater did, like you said with the story, the boss fights with the end, and how you can, like, do them. Like, you can actually kill the end through old age, or you kill Ocelot at the start, and it's like, you've destroyed the timeline, and like totally the game finishes then, because like
you get time paradox popping
and
up there.
Like I said, the boss fight at the end against boss is just that, like, the storytelling and cinematography and stuff with that is like outstanding. So I was like, yeah, this has to go in. If something Kojima has to go in, it can't be Death Stranding. It has to be this.
Yeah, it can't be Death Stranding, but I have no qualms with this pick here at all. If I ever get a chance to do my own list, which I presume I would, this would be something I would have included myself. Just an absolutely tremendous, outstanding masterpiece of a game, and worth playing, even if you've never played a Metal Gear Solid game before. This is a great one to start with.
Yeah, the only other one that people tell me, and I did have started playing it, which is a lot of people say it's better, is Peace Walker. But I've never finished it. Plus, it's still, you can't play it on its own because it's after Snake Eater. But it does give you more contents from Metal Gear Solid 5 though, of pass and stuff. But
oh yeah, it's a must play for 5. But I think Peace Walker's got the problem where it's all mission based, so you never really get like this fully fledged story.
You get the cool cuts, like comic book cutscenes though, but it isn't the same as what 3 does. And 3's got some other decent tunes, not just Snake Eater. Yeah,
absolutely. So yeah, brilliant pick. No qualms about that one at all. But I think it's time we move on to the last game on your list. Before we come to any of that, how about another tune? Somas. That was Game 5, a little music from that. But what was
Game 5? This one I haven't played. We did debate this on Twitter. You sort of didn't really want to put it in, but I wanted to put it in for historical reasons. And when you know what it is, you might understand slightly more why I want to play it in.
Okay. I'm skeptically raising an eyebrow just now here, Mass. I know we're Skype, but please,
it is
tell us
World of Warcraft. Yeah.
Okay. Slightly get why, but I'd like to hear it from yourself.
Yeah, World of Warcraft is a weird one. I think historically it's something, for the MMO genre and online gaming for PC has been huge. And obviously I've not played it because it's always been on PC, and now it came out in 2005, so 13 years later, jumping into it now seems really daunting. Like, people are so far ahead, and you see like this new expansion coming out, Battle of Azeroth comes out soon, and you see like the really cool cinematic for it. And there's someone that's played quite a bit of Overwatch and like the polish that Blizzard has in that game, and even played some Hearthstone. That's pretty polished as well, which is connected to the Warcraft universe. And even I didn't mind Heroes of the Storm when I played it to try to get some skins for Genji and Diva for Overwatch, and even Diablo. What I have played it, they all have got this polish to them, which I've only seen from like the likes of Nintendo and Naughty Dog, for instance. That that top tier of polish. So I know there's definitely something here. World of Warcraft, like this game is still massive. It's not as popular as it used to be, but like years ago when it first came out, it's like breaking all these records and stuff like that, and how much Blizzard was like taking in from subs and stuff like that. It's like there's got to be something here for this game to still be popular 13 years later, still getting like a new expansion for it, and like changes the lore and stuff, because the new expansion, I think from what I've seen of cinematics, focuses on Jaina quite a bit. Like I said, I kind of only know her from Heroes of the Storm because she's like the character I used in the deck I used, so I know why it's in the cinematic. So my weird thinking in this game is just like I said, the historical version. But if games are banned, and we've only got so many games to play, and there's so many people who are going to play those games, we're all going to mostly have the same starting point of World of Warcraft as well. So it's going to be easier to jump onto the game than it would be now. Like, if I got World of Warcraft now with Battle of Azeroth, I'm like, well, where do I go? Who's playing? You know, what's happening? And I could wait to, like, the vanilla classic version, which Blizzard are actually doing, fan ones are coming down and stuff. So that's what worried me, was that the game's an MMO, like, could we still play it? There is fan servers, so I presume we would just have a fan server sort of type deal set up for it. So if this Vault, we only have the games that us 10 or 15 of us pick, and we're all got to have something to play. Well, if we all start at the same point of Warcraft, it could be really interesting.
So basically, you popped in here because you're looking for some mates to play through World of Warcraft.
Yes.
No, well, I mean, from, like, as you said, a historical perspective there, like, if you're going to put an MMO in, you're going to put in WoW. Like, there's no other MMO with that level of pedigree, that level of longevity, at the top level as well, like, with the amount of subscribers it does. Like, there are a couple of MMOs that are maybe lasted a little bit longer, but not with the same modicum of success that World of Warcraft has carried there. I've played it very, very little, maybe for like an hour or two at tops. For a very similar reason to you, like there was just so much
I just
game
think
there that I didn't really want to dedicate that much time.
Daunting is the word I used. Like I said, they are doing like a classic new, like bringing back the original like vanilla 1.0 game, and obviously everyone would be starting the same then. But then it's like, well, then that's like a 2005 game which you're bringing back. I know Battle of Azeroth and stuff is still going to be based on that game that they made all that years, but there's definitely going to be some quality life changes, updates over the 13 years, which make it easier. And all I know, they still advertise free trials because I've played Overwatch on PC during free weekends. It might be easy to get into Warcraft, but I've always been put off with the aspect of doing so. And out of the games that I got, I haven't got a proper RPG. So I wanted an RPG. I wanted something multiplayer, and the historical value, I think, of the game is really why I went in. And it's the only game that isn't, apart from the lab, that isn't like focused all on story. There is obviously lore and stuff of the game, but it's not the main thing compared to like it's not compared to like a Firewatch or a Bioshock Infinite, for instance.
Yeah, and I think it's quite good that we've got a Blizzard game in this list so far there, because you're absolutely right in what you're saying. Like if you talk about PC gaming, people will point to Valve, but they'll also point, especially in recent years, to Blizzard as a company, like in terms of like the level of the quality of games they've put out across the years. Like there's not really been a total stinker that they've ever done. Like some games, some people would say, it's just fine, it's all right, but you'd be hard pressed for somebody to point at one of their games and go, that's utter shite. Most people will say that they can understand the appeal for a lot of them, and I can get it. I totally get it for a while. Like, I really do get it for World of Warcraft. Like I was huge into another MMO. Yeah, like that's the one, and as many were. But you were all kind of a wee bit jealous of WoW because it had like the better visuals, it had like the bigger player base. It wasn't as goofy as RuneScape, but it had that level of polish that you described there. That Blizzard seal of quality, I suppose you could say. So yeah, I mean, now that you've explained it, I was definitely raising eyebrows because I didn't know why you were including a game you'd never played before, but I do kind of get it now. In fact, I more than kind of get it. I get it.
I was like, it's not like I've gone on putting in. I don't know what I've not played that I would like to play. It's just like I said, due to the daunting nature of the title.
I think it would be a bit
Yeah.
easier than you're letting on, though. I think they will have things in place to let players catch
Because I
up
think if you,
a
I'm
lot
not
quicker.
going to, but I think if you buy the expansion, like I think you can start a character like a level 100 right away or something like that. A bit like they did with Destiny when they released like the second expansion or something. Like you can start from like level 25 or something right away.
Just let people play catch up in that sense there. Yeah. But I suppose we'll have all the time in the world.
Exactly. That's my point. We got all this. We got 13 years worth of 13 years worth of content. We're never going to get bored of it.
So, that's your 5 games there, Mass. So just to recap, it was Bioshock Infinite.
Yeah.
That was Firewatch. That was The Lab, MGS3, and World of Warcraft. So, 3 episodes in, no Nintendo games on a list for the first time.
Am I the only one that haven't put a Nintendo game? Yeah.
I'm sure Zero did, and Luke definitely did as well. Yeah. So. Yeah, you broke the trend, man.
I know.
Broke the trend.
The only thing is, I presumed everyone else would, so that was the sort of thing. And also, I never put a Sega game in either.
That's true. That part did surprise me. Like, I was expecting something with the Dreamcast to turn up, but no, definitely a different list for sure. But that's what makes this whole podcast interesting. Like, everyone's lists have been very different so far, which makes it an interesting concept, and I hope it continues to hold your guys' attention as it goes on for the other forumites. Cool. Anything to add? From
No,
your list
not
that
I can really think of. Like you said, there's a few like omniscience. Like I've not put a first person shooter in, for instance, like a Halo or something. Some big titles I can really think of that could have easily gone in.
That's why I've only given you 5. We make it difficult. We make it difficult. Well, I think with that, we've taken up enough of your time. We should probably wrap things up here. So thank you so much for taking your time out your evening here, Mass, and chatting about some games with me. And look forward to seeing this up soon, trademark. And I really do hope it will be soon. But good stuff. Well, thank you for everyone for listening. When the next Gracklecast, if we do another one of these, we'll see. I might actually try and think of a non-versus mode one next time around. See if there's a little theme we can get going for that one. I'm sure I'll take some suggestions on the forum. But yes, to keep your eyes peeled for the next one coming out. I may even contact some of you for another versus mode. Who knows? And until then, thank you so much for listening.
Bye.